Hello.
Good evening.
Welcome to Testimony Tuesday.
Yes. Welcome.
We are so excited that you have taken time out of your busy schedule to join us on today.
Yes, we are.
Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and like, tag, and share if you are able to. Let someone else join us on tonight and hear another powerful testimony. Hello, Michael. Thank you for joining us on today. Guys, we thank you for joining us. We thank you. Today is a special day. It is such a special day for us.
Yes,
it is such a special day. So on this day, 15 years ago, we birthed our sweet Joshua Chase, who has transitioned to be with the Lord, but we love him and we remember him. And I am going to try to show my baby. I think I fixed it so I can show you all his picture. There he is. Happy birthday in heaven. All the way to heaven. We are sending happy birthday shout outs to our baby who would have been 15 years old today. Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
I just don't even know what to imagine, like what he would have been like. You know, we only got to have him for one whole year, one full year. And I think that was just so God. A very interesting year. And so his whole personality, everything about him was just something. He was just, I feel like he had discernment already. I feel like he was just such a smart boy. And so we miss him dearly, but that is our baby. So we decided to show him on today. Thank you all. Thank you. And so, yes. Thank you. That's our baby. Hey, Miss Jackie. Hey, Tanya. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Tasha. Y'all keep my sister in prayer. She is, she might not want me to tell, but I don't care. But, she's in the hospital right now. And so we want to continue to lift her up. She is getting better. She is doing better. But they have not released her yet. And so she has been there since Saturday night, Sunday. Yeah. So anyway, we continue to lift her up in prayer. Hey, Tasha, thank you for joining us anyway. Hello, love. Hey, Miss Roslyn. Thank you for saying happy birthday to our baby. Hey, Miss Shirley. Hey, Renee. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Let me say this to you all. I know we are doing Testimony Tuesday, and I want everyone to hear Alicia's story because she has an amazing story. However, today is also voting. So if you have not voted, keep us on your phone and go to the polls.
We got about 52 more minutes.
Yes, please. And it may be 7:30. I don't know whether it's 7 or 7:30.
I think it's 7:30.
Okay.
But please go vote. I can't tell you who to vote for, but we have some great candidates. And so I just encourage you to vote. It kind of seems odd because it's not in November that we're voting, but Henderson has different county commissioner seats that are open. We have a huge, mayoral race that is happening today. And so we want to vote. Let your voice be heard. It's no need to complain about how things are going if you're not going to vote to get the right people in office to make it happen. So I just encourage you to go out and to vote. Unfortunately, we live in the county, so we weren't able to go out and vote, but I encourage you, you still have time to please go out there and vote. So
what's up, Richard? I see you.
Hey, Richard. Hey, LaShawn.
Hey, Richard, what we talked about, I'm working on it.
Yes. Thank you. Tasha, you see my skills. I was able to do it. Thank you, Richard. Thank you all for shouting out my baby. I'm telling you. Tasha, they're saying get well. They're praying for you. And Tanya, I did tell on Tasha. I sure did. Absolutely. Hey, Miss Wanda. Thank you for joining us on today. Hey, Miss Bobby. Hey, Minister Gay. Thank you for joining us. Yes, yes, yes. Vote, vote, vote. Yes, 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 yes. City count. Yep, Tasha. So I said it right. Good, good, good. Hello, Miss Bonnie. Hey, Bonnie. How are you? So yes, so thank you all for joining us on today. We are going to jump right into Alicia's story. Tasha said thank you all for the prayers that are sent up on her behalf. And so we have a special guest on today. She is special for so many reasons. One, she is the sister to one of my closest friends, and two, her mother is our Mima. Like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, like
Best babysitter in the world.
the best. When I say the best, I love Mima. Let me just stress that a million times over. But we have Alicia Campbell with us on tonight. Now, I'm sorry, but before I introduce you, let me tell you why we do Testimony Tuesday. Testimony Tuesday is to lift up the name of Jesus and to allow people to understand that God is still God. He is still working miracles. He is still healing, delivering, setting free. He is still being a keeper, all of those things. And so it's based off of Revelations.
Yep. Revelations chapter 12, verses 10 and 11. And it says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death."
Absolutely. So we understand that there is power in the testimony,
Yes.
which is why we share our testimony. So someone else can look at our lives and say, you know what? If you made it through that, and if God allowed you to come through that, then I can too, because he does not have a respect of person.
Absolutely.
So that is why we do what we do. Hey, Ariana, thank you for joining. Hey, Miss Gloria, thank you for joining. And so yes, we have Alicia Campbell with us on tonight. Alicia is married to Anthony Campbell. We call him two, right, but Anthony Campbell. And she has two amazing sons. Two amazing sons.
Yeah.
And so Ahmad and Rashad.
Yes.
Or Rashad and Ahmad, since Rashad is the oldest.
Right.
And so, Alicia, I want you, I'm sure there are many parts of your life that you could share as far as a testimony. But take us to October the 2nd.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to take you back one more day.
Okay.
October the 1st, my mom and I were attending the Abria Chase Foundation
Heroes
Banquet. So my mom, of course, everyone calls me Mom. Heroes Banquet.
Sorry about that.
Heroes Banquet. So we were out there, and so we were supporting, of course, Ayana and June, and my mom and I were sitting there at the table, and we were just talking and just enjoying the whole festivities or whatever. And as we were sitting there, and all of a sudden we heard the 911 call, and I looked at my mom and I was like, "Oh my!"
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Oh, bless their hearts." She just felt we just felt so much empathy for you guys,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we was always there to support you all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we were sitting there, and so we heard that, and I looked at Mom and said, "Mom, I don't know how they can, how do you do this? How are they getting through this?
Mm-hmm.
They lost their babies.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard." I don't ever want to do this with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Me neither." She said, "The parents supposed to bury the kids." And I was like, "Yes, I totally agree." So we were sitting there enjoying the festivities, eating and everything else. And then I believe it was Pastor Joanne Allen was praying.
Mm-hmm.
And as she was praying, I was sitting there saying, "Lord, please don't take my children."
Mm.
I was just saying, "Lord, please don't take my children." And then my classmate of mine, Irvin, was sitting at the next table behind me. He kind of reached out to me, because our boys were about the same age,
Mm-hmm.
not exactly, but, And so since we were classmates and stuff, we were like, okay, He said, yeah, I don't know what I could do. I don't know what I would do if I lost one of my kids. I said, yeah, me neither. And so on the way home, my mom and I, and we still was having that same discussion. I said, Mom, I said, I don't think I could live through that. I don't think I could survive losing one of my children. I was like, we're just too close. We're too close knit. I just can't imagine losing one of my kids. And so I continued on, dropped my mom off, got home. My oldest son, Rashad, was in town for the weekend. And this weekend, Ahmad had already told me that Friday, he was like, well, Mom, I'm not going to come because, we got fall break next week. If I come home Friday, I have to go back on Sunday and come right back home on Wednesday for fall break. And he was like, that's just too much gas. He was a tight wad.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, speed it up a little bit. So later on that night, probably about 3:30 in the morning, Rashad knocked on my door because we were of course in bed at that time, and he was on the phone with Ahmad's friend Devaris, and Devaris had called him because he said, Ahmad, he's like, Mom, Ahmad has been shot. I said, what? What do you mean? He said, Devaris is on the phone. They're on their way to the hospital. Ahmad has been shot. And the only thing I could say was, Jesus. Because the one thing my mom has always taught us, that we can't say nothing else, just say, call on Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Just say Jesus. And so, I mean, I just felt like something just left my body at that point. I didn't know the situation, how bad it was, or anything like that. But, so moving on forward, we made it to Greensboro. My husband drove and got out the car and in the parking lot because my husband was trying to find a park. I said, look, just let me out. Then Rashad hopped out the car, took off running, totally ran in the wrong direction. And we ran our way to the main part of the hospital. We weren't even at the emergency room. So I'm out of breath because he ran track. So I'm trying to keep. I said, go ahead, I'm coming. But the people in there, they told me, well, no, you're on the wrong side. So we ran back around, and Rashad got in first, and I came on, and then my husband and Dina came in behind us. At the time, ahead of that, I had called my cousin who lived in Greensboro. I said, listen, get to the hospital. My husband shot. I don't know if it was what or anything. So my cousin and his daughter and son were there to greet us when we got there, and Devaris and about 4 or 5 other guys that was with Ahmad that night. And so when we got there, they, of course, they didn't take us back immediately. They was like, have a seat, someone to come out and get you. So as we were sitting there, so I just started praying. I got down on my knees, just started praying in the hospital, just let it not be a serious situation, that it was something that we could handle. He just got hurt a little bit. Um, but then when we noticed when the nurse family came out to get us, she took us down a different hallway from everybody that was going in to the emergency room. So I said, this can't be good. So anyway, so we went back to the back room, and the doctor and the detective and the counselor from North Carolina A&T and a nurse came in the room, and the doctor just proceeded to say Ahmad was shot and he didn't make it. And all we could do was just scream, cry. I looked at my son, and I looked, he had hit the wall, and just like, no, not my only brother. So we went through a very, very difficult time. And not only that, you know, it's just been a long time. And this happened October the 2nd, 2016. And this was our year 7. And it still seems like yesterday. Absolutely yesterday. And then after that, it took about 18 months for them to even make an arrest. And then after that, with COVID, it took another probably about 3 more years before we even went to trial. The guy ended up pleading, did a plea bargain. He pleaded guilty.
So take us back a little bit. So he wasn't in an altercation.
No, no. What happened was he was attending an off-campus party at North Carolina A&T, which is about, I would say about 30 feet in these white cottages. And I think it was called Campus Evolution at the time. So he was over there with some friends, and so some uninvited guests came in. They started an altercation with somebody else, and they were asked to leave. And when they left out, they still was having like back and forth conversations, arguments, and then they shot back into the apartment. They shot twice, I believe, because they only said it was two bullet holes, and one hit Ahmad, and then the other one hit a young lady from Chicago, which her name was Alicia Campbell, a 19-year-old sophomore.
Who lost her life?
Who also lost her life, and they were just there. It was like what the kids call kickback. They because from my understanding, they said she was playing cards, and so when the altercation came, they all was like in the back bedroom and just away from, they had barricaded themselves. So, they ain't let nobody in, nobody got out, and then when they heard the gunshot, they turned the light off. And after they did that, and then when the second shot went off, somebody popped the light on, and then they all took off running. And then Ahmad's friends, one of them rode with him to the party. He was parked on the next street over, and so they was like, "Where Ahmad? We keep calling him. Why is he not answering?" So they said, "Well, the guy that rode with him, he's well, I know where he parked. Let's go to the car." Y'all, they was like, "Ahmad, y'all know Ahmad? He probably took off running. He going to the car. He probably going back to his dorm or whatever."
Right.
But when they got out there, they still didn't see him, and they kept calling. So they ended up going back up, and they had to ask the police officer because they knew the young lady had got shot, but they didn't know Amar had gotten shot because I think he was like over like behind the bed or something,
Right.
and so they didn't know that he had been hit. But the police officer told him it was a young black male in a gray and black hoodie that he wore all the time, Nike hoodie. Yes, and he had already been transported. Because he got transported before she did. So, yes, terrible.
Whew. My God. And for anyone, I'm hearing the story. I've heard the story before. I'm hearing it again, and it is just like, because he was such a good boy. Like he was just a gentle giant. He was just so sweet.
Just sweet.
There is just nothing. He barely talked.
Yes.
Like
you didn't know he was in the room.
You did not.
He was just that quiet type of person. And and as he was just becoming into himself,
right,
and he was starting to come out, he was weightlifting with his dad and brother, and they was always in this competition thing, and he was just broad. His shoulders had gotten broadened, and everything, because he was the smallest thing on the football team when he was at the middle school. He was like the little peewee to me.
Yeah.
But but he just had so much heart that he didn't let nothing stop him. Ahmad struggled in school when he first started because he had a little learning disability. He got that straight, and by the time he made it to high school, he still was good. He had extended time, but he still took that on to college.
Yeah,
because he was determined that he was going to be all that he could be. He was just that type of guy that, like, Mama, I'm going to be a millionaire. And that's what he used to say to me. He was like, Mom, I'm going to be that millionaire. I said, okay, baby, that sounds good to me. And speaking of millionaires, so after, we had court and everything else. So as me and Elisa's family, we decided to do a civil lawsuit.
Yeah.
And we did that because we didn't want anybody else's child to feel that pain, that hurt, and the disappointments that we had, of losing our two kids.
Right.
And so we did do a civil lawsuit against the apartment complex because security was definitely not what it should have been.
Right.
They should have shut those kickbacks down.
Yeah.
They should have shut it down. If it was too many people, it should have been shut down, but it was not.
Yeah.
So just this year, we finally closed on the case. We were very proud of our lawyers, Valerie Johnson out of Durham, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I support her because we just want to get the point across that
Yeah.
you guys, y'all need to step up y'all security,
Right.
And after Ahmad and Alicia was killed, just last year on that same street, a young lady from Statesville was also killed.
Wow.
The same street, so they still haven't learned. But this also was last year before we finished the lawsuit. So I advise parents do not, do not express to your kids. You can't tell them everything to do, but express to them. Watch your surroundings.
Yeah.
Watch your surroundings. You don't, even if it's at a friend's house, you have no idea what can actually happen. These were two innocent children doing nothing no other college students have not done,
Right.
that I didn't do in some state. So
Right.
I just know they weren't doing anything that nobody
Yeah.
else. I mean, he went to this apartment to play video games before because it was friends of a
Yeah,
friend,
yeah.
So it wasn't like they were out there just just cutting up. But they were some good kids. Their lives were
Yes.
shortened for absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
Nothing.
Mm. You would think that after something so devastating, that life would stop lifing, as they say. But recently, you had another major event.
Yes. So at the beginning of this year, well, I'll take it back a little further. So my mom and I, um, just so we can stay on one accord, we go to the doctor together. And whenever we have mammograms, I always schedule mammograms for me and her. We go the same day, so I can keep up with hers when she has hers. So we were in our doctor's appointment on December the 19th. And we were sitting there, and my doctor was going over both of our. She was like, "Y'all didn't have y'all mammograms this year." I was like, "Yes, we did. I sent you the results." She was like, "No, no, I don't have them. So I'm gonna go ahead and write this up for you, um, and y'all need to go and get y'all mammograms." So on December the 19th, well, that was December the 8th. So on December the 19th, my mom and I both had our mammograms done. I didn't think anything of it because I had did the test to see if you have the gene for cancer like the year before. So I was not even stressed. I said, oh, okay. So make a long story short, my mom and I both of us got our mammograms. Well, they called me back and I had to go back in for more pictures before they said we have to do more pictures. So I went back in and that was like January the 6th or so. And then when I was there, um, they got the doctors to look at it, and they was like, I think we need to go ahead and do an ultrasound. So they went ahead and did the ultrasound. I was like, okay. And then after they did the ultrasound, it was like, oh, we need to schedule you for a biopsy. I was like, okay. So I still was not stressed, not worried, because I didn't have any lumps, because I faithfully get my mammograms done every year. I was like, okay, it'll be fine. It's gonna be benign. I wasn't worried. So on February the 3rd, I got the phone call from the surgeon after he had did the biopsy, the results, and he said, "Well, Miss Campbell, you have stage 0 breast cancer." I said, "You what?" He was like, "Yes, you have stage 0 breast cancer." He said, "Do you have anybody that can come in with you for your appointment so we can discuss what we need to do?" So of course my heart started racing. I was like, "Wait a minute, did you say stage 0? Did you say I have breast cancer?" He was like, "Yes." He said, "So you have to come in." So my husband, so I called my husband. I was like, "Okay, so we need to go to the hospital um, to get my results." But he says I have breast cancer, but it's stage 0, stage 0. I kept stressing to him, it's stage 0.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, because we've had cancer in our family before, but never breast cancer.
Right.
So we knew like stage 4 colon cancer.
Right.
So I knew that was on the worst end. So stage 0, I was like, oh, this is a minor thing. It'll be fine. So then once I got there to him and he wanted to discuss, well, what what would you like? You have several options. You can do what they call a lympectomy,
Uh-huh.
where they remove just the section,
Right.
or you can do the mastectomy. And so he said, so I'm gonna give you some time to think about it. And I told my husband when I got home, I said, oh, they're gonna take part. They're gonna take all.
Right.
I don't even want to deal with it. Because if I had did the lympectomy, I would have had to do radiation, and that was not something that I
Right.
wanted to do if
Right.
I had the option. So then I had to decide whether I would go with the implant or do reconstructive surgery. Well, I didn't want an implant, so I was like, well, I'm only 54. I don't think I'm ready for just nothing.
Right.
And I didn't want to do the prosthetic thing. So I was like, okay. And then the other option was to do reconstructive surgery, and you can also use your own fatty tissue. So
Mm.
I said, oh, I have enough in my belly that I could do that.
Right.
So, and then in which, long story short, I stayed out I got my surgery March 6th, stayed at home about 4 weeks, went back to work. And then in July, I went back in for surgery again, for reconstructive surgery. And then, so since I had used my belly tissue, so I was out for about 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got back to that. And so then I had to have my 6-month breast mammogram done. So
Mhm.
6 months from March.
Right.
So my husband and I, he was like, well, you got 3 appointments. I said, yeah, I got to do, I had to see the breast person. I had to do a mammogram, and I had to see the oncologist. So he was like, well, I'll go with you since you have so many appointments, and they would spread it out. I said, okay. And so we went in, I did the first appointment, then did my mammogram. Well, as I did the mammogram, went really fast, and they only do the breast that they didn't do anything to. So it's my right breast. So went there, and she was like, well, sit out here a minute. I'm gonna let the radiologist check you out. So as I was sitting there, she came back out. Well, they want me to take some more pictures,
Wow.
which made me nervous. I was like, what? I was like, okay. So being diagnosed with cancer after, because the first time I was okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't even stressed at all about, I just knew it was going to be benign because
Yeah.
I've had biopsies before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the radiologist came in after she took more pictures, and he was like, we're going to need to do a biopsy today. I said, what? So this was just on September the 29th,
Wow.
which is 2 days before Ahmad's death anniversary.
Right.
So I was like, oh, wow, this is not a good time for me. It was very stressful for my husband and I, but to God be the glory.
Yes.
That I was cancer free.
Yes. To God
I'm
be the
so
glory.
grateful.
Yes.
I am so grateful. And ever since Ahmad died, I think in the last few years, I had this motto I have. And my motto is, through all of this, God is still good.
He is still good.
I even got me a shirt made, God is still good, because in all of this, it could have been so the other way.
Yes. Yes.
And it was not. I am just grateful to God that He stood there. So I would advise everybody, don't miss your mammogram.
Yes.
Get your mammograms yearly.
Absolutely.
Because early detection is the best protection.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, and get your mammogram, even if you've had the test that says you have no gene.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
To God be the glory.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, God.
What a story. What a story.
Yes, yes.
But God gets all the glory.
He gets all the glory and
Whew.
honor and praise.
Yes. Yes. To God be the glory. And I have, I feel like I've been just up close and personal with your story, and I just feel like, you didn't waver with God. You trusted Him through the whole
through the
process,
whole
and
process.
so, and that's not always easy.
It's not.
You know,
In actuality, in Bible study one night, I was having a conversation. Of course, we were doing it on Zoom, and your faith wavers a little bit when tragedy happens to you.
yes,
Because when Ahmad got killed, I said, Lord, why would you take my son?
right,
It was 8 other people in there. Why my son? And then I had to think about it. I said, but I'm no better than Mary. And she watched him abuse her son.
right.
So I couldn't continue to say that and stay mad with God because I knew he gave on his only son.
Yes, He did.
So
Yes,
I
He
couldn't
did.
stay mad with him, but I have to say, yeah, my faith did drop. But after all of this and trusting God and just learning the word even more and more each and every day, that my faith had grown from a mustard seed to a grape.
Yes,
And so I shared it with them on Bible study. And that was probably about 2022. And then 2023 hit. Woo, and I've had a lot of things go on this
right,
year. A
right.
lot of things go on this year that couldn't be prevented. But guess what? God was still good.
Yes,
God was
yes.
still good. Still good.
To God be the glory.
Yes.
Wow, what a story.
Yep.
Wow.
God
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing your testimony. Thank you for sharing the goodness of the Lord.
Yes.
Even through it all,
Do it all.
we all go through things, but it's how you go through it that makes the difference.
Yes.
And so
God's still writing your story.
He is
He's still writing all of our stories.
Absolutely.
He still is.
Yep. And we still have another opportunity and another chance to let somebody know
Absolutely.
it's going to be okay.
It's
Absolutely.
gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's going to
It's
be
gonna
okay.
be okay.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have those moments, but it's gonna be okay.
Right.
It's gonna be okay.
Yep.
God is still good.
God is still good. I was trying to Teresa Pugh say, "You don't look like what you've been through."
Bless
Isn't
you.
that the truth?
Yes.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes.
He is still a good God. That is right, Facetious. He is still a good God.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you all for joining and listening to Alicia's amazing story on tonight. To God be the glory. And He is glorified through it all.
Thank you
Through
guys
it
for
all.
having me. And ladies, get your mammograms
Absolutely.
yearly
Absolutely.
and trust God.
Yes, because we take it for granted sometimes,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And because of the unfortunate situation with your son, a foundation was birthed out of this. Tell us
Yes, talk
about
about it.
So after Ahmad was killed, people were so generous. Like cars was coming in, just money and money and money. And I was like, okay. So my first thought was, I was like, well, he's young, and a lot of people don't have life insurance. So I said, well, maybe people thinking we didn't have insurance on him,
Right,
they just
right.
being nice and was sending money. So I told my husband and my son Rashad, I was like, Rashad, I was like, what are we gonna do with all this money?
Right.
People was just sending money, and then you know what? And I said, you know what? We're gonna start a foundation in honor of Ahmad.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we started doing, we started giving out scholarships because Ahmad struggled in school. So I like to give scholarships out to students that kind of struggle a little bit.
Yes.
So I try to target those, but they don't always apply because they just assume they won't get it.
Right.
But Ahmad Campbell Foundation, yes, it is on the website, and we have products that you can purchase online. Next year, I plan to celebrate Ahmad's 30th birthday.
Yes.
And his birthday, he would have been 30 years old next year.
Mhm.
So I plan to have a sneaker ball because my baby loved his Jordans. Loved his Jordans. So next year we're gonna honor him, and that's gonna be my first event since COVID. I haven't had another event, but I normally have an event every year to raise money. And I have been blessed to have been giving out $2,000 for 7 years.
Wow.
God
So that's
be the
Very good.
$14,000 to
Very good.
students, and we're still up and going and
Yes.
trying to bless even more.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm
more.
sure that any of you guys that have been to college or have children that have been or either in college now, you understand how much of a help that $2,000 can be.
Absolutely.
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 Yes.
So, and another thing, you were connected to another organization called Moms Demand Action.
Yes. So after Ahmaud was killed, I joined a group called Moms Demand Action, and it's an activist group that is want to not control guns, but to end senseless gun violence,
Right.
and not to control guns. Let me repeat that. But we want to be smarter about having people to secure their guns
Right. By raising awareness.
by
Right.
raising the awareness.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I would get out and I would speak and tell my story just so people know how innocent my son got killed just because, somebody had a gun,
Yeah.
and it was probably someone that should not have had a gun. Actually, he was not, because he was a felon
Mhm.
prior to that, so he shouldn't have had a gun in the first place.
Mhm.
So I have been to DC to speak to the senators. I have been to Atlanta. Also, this year, I missed it this year because I had surgery, but we have a Gun Sense University um, theme every year. When COVID came, we had to do it on Zoom, of course, but this past year was this year was the first year we all got back together, and to meet a lot of survivors of parents, both men and women, even though it's called Moms Man Action, but we had some men that have joined as well, that advocate because their kids were killed senselessly, whether it was domestic abuse or suicide, you just need to protect your people.
Right.
And so we try to advocate with the senators or the house, just try to make sure you put good people in place
Right.
that have some sense of gun sense. And so I recently got some signs on the website that says together we can end gun violence for sale. Let's save our children.
Mhm.
Think twice before you shoot. Just some yard signs that maybe it will stop one person.
Right.
And I figured, I'm still keeping Ahmaud's legacy
Yes.
alive
Yes.
to be able to speak of him
Yes.
and talk about him and just letting people know that, he was a good kid that should still be here.
Yep.
But unfortunately, he's not. But I still want to advocate that, it'll help somebody else.
Absolutely.
Very
Yes.
good. So upcoming soon, not quite sure it's on the calendar yet, but we will have another day of giving.
Oh yeah.
So we want you to remember these organizations.
Absolutely. In
on
November,
that,
I think it's
not just
the
on
end of
that day,
November.
but throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Amazing, amazing, and it just turns your pain
Oh, yes.
into purpose. You know.
Yes. Because at first, you think when tragedy hits you, like, okay, God, why us?
Mhm.
Why did you pick us? And what was the purpose of him losing his life at such a young age? But it was a purpose for it. And I was a quiet person too. So
Mhm.
me sitting here talking today
Right.
is phenomenal.
Right.
But the death of Ahmaud really brought my voice out. And a
Mm.
lot of times I tell people,
Wow.
I am the new Ahmaud's voice.
Yeah.
I am Ahmaud's voice. So
Yeah.
that's why I advocate, and I will continue to advocate as long as I live to keep him, as long as I breathe.
Yep.
I will
I
be his
love
voice,
it.
Wow.
I
Ahmaud's
love it.
voice.
Very good.
Guys, thank you all for watching us on today.
Yes.
One thing that we are going to do, so on this Saturday, we are having how to start your business, how to start your small business, nonprofit. And we have some amazing people that are going to be here with us on Saturday.
Very good information.
And so the information, just a wealth of knowledge. And so we are giving away one seat. Love you, Facetious. We are giving away one seat to someone who wants to start their own business. And so, inbox me. Ask a question. So the question is going to be, this is an easy one. So if someone gets it, I'll let you know who the winner is. But what is so special about today? And it is not voting. That I want you to vote. Let's be clear. I do want you to vote.
Yes, please.
But that is not what I am talking about today.
You got 45 more minutes to get to the poll.
Yes. So please vote. We do encourage you to vote. There are some very good and capable candidates that are running this year. So please, if you have not voted, please, if you live in the city limits, go vote. Please, if you need a ride, we'll take you. We'll pick you up. We'll pick you up and take you. So
every vote counts.
Every vote counts. Absolutely. So, one, if you need a ride, you can inbox us. We'll pick you up. Two, if you can, I don't know what Tasha has shared. She said, the form. So Tasha has shared the form. Melanie, it is breast cancer awareness, but that is not it. But it is. Yeah. It is definitely breast cancer awareness month. I have my pen on. Absolutely. Hey, Miss Mary, we love you too.
Hey, Miss Awesome.
Yes. So if you can guess what it is, then you are able to. And it should not be hard, guys. It should not be hard. I started the show with it.
Yes.
Yes, Kiara. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Man,
hey, Miss Gwen. You and Gwen. Both of y'all, I tell you what, both of y'all can come. Saturday at 10 o'clock. You can come. Saturday at 10.
One seat apiece.
Yep. So Saturday at 10, you are able to come on us. So we are hosting you too. So yes, thank you, Melody. Thank you. Yep, it's Chase's birthday. And so again, just because it is my baby's birthday and because I am so tech savvy, as my sister says, I share my baby's picture. Right. My sweet Happy boy. Birthday, yes. But again, thank you all. Thank you for joining us. Join us again on next Tuesday, where we will have another powerful testimony. If you have not registered for the event on Saturday, register, come. The information, I can't even put it into words. You want to be here. You don't want to miss it. And if you have any questions or anything like that, you are able. Thank you, Tanya. You are able to contact me. If you have my number, call me and I'll let you know. If you've been trying to call my other cell phone, my son has misplaced it. And so I have to transfer that phone number to another phone because Gabe has misplaced my cell phone. So anyway, but guys, thank you all for joining us on tonight. Please register if you can. Cheerleading competition coming up November the 11th. You know, anybody who has a squad, please send them our way. I'm excited just about the squads that are participating already. I am so excited about it. So this year is going to be good. So guys, please share the information. Thank you. And join us again on next Tuesday. Good night. Go vote. If you have not voted, go vote.
Good night.